as is our shita, our style. We talk first and then we get into things so that we don't interrupt the flow. So after our normal preliminaries, we're going to be exploring a little bit from the holiday cycle. That is one of the main parts of what we're reading from the Torah service today. And we're going to be looking at mostly the two holidays of Pesach and of Sukkot that stand at either end of that cycle, but spiritually what each one represents. Just they each have a very different impact on our neshama, on our soul. Each one is trying to guide us in a particular way. So we're going to use some of the phrasing, some of the songs, some of the ideas from each of those to try and tap into the underlying feel of each of those holidays and what each contribute to our life year round, not just during those holidays. That's why we can study the holidays even when it's not actually Passover or Sukkot. We're good. I'm sure we've got a minion. But with the talk done and hopefully my throat getting over the morning wake-up part, just let's begin just by making sure that you are sitting comfortably, not crossed or bound or tied or tensioned. Just allow yourself to relax, not go limp. Limp is the opposite of relaxation. Our bodies are designed to allow us to stand, to sit, to be held up with little effort if we have them in a comfortable posture. If you allow your feet to rest gently along the floor and let that strength come up and join with the support that is coming through your hips from the chair, allow your back to be a pillar rising up out of your hips, guided by the chair, your shoulders holding the weight up of your torso so that it isn't bending or impinging upon your stomach or chest. Allowing your breath to come and go easily, gently, with very little effort. Just the diaphragm, that large muscle in the center, just gently working. Allowing the air to flow in, and then the air to go out. Of course, following that flow up from our shoulders, as the spine continues as a column up to our head. There it rests, our eyes and ears and mouth to the world, taking all that is within a neshama and putting it back into the world, and taking the whole world and bringing it back into our soul. It is that beautiful interplay, the flow of the tide of the sea in and out from us, where we touch the world and where the world touches our spirit, that we can begin to find ourselves and find that sense of gratitude and wonder at each day's gift, at the gift of our own existence. Our sages say that each morning we should be thankful and say, Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. My God, the soul that you have placed within me is pure. Elohai, Elohai, neshama, neshama, shenatata bi, tehorahi, tehorahi. Oh my God, oh my God, the soul that you placed in me, it is pure, it is pure. the soul. Shenatata be that you placed in me. Tehora it is pure. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata be, Tehorahi, Tehorahi. It is in that moment, that liminal space, where our self, our soul, the world come into contact with both this world and the world to come, that we become able to recognize that our soul indeed was created, was placed, was put within us, was given. And who is the doer of all of those verbs? Our soul was given all of these properties. We were given creation. We were given life by Adonai. We recognize through the miracle of our own existence in creation, the broader miracle of all of creation, and the shared creator in all. To look out into the world and see a reflection of our own existence is to see the reflection of the one that brought that existence to be. In our tradition, we move to Baruch She'amar in order to remind ourselves of this blessing, of the one that spoke and brought the world into being. At this point in our service, we try to move ourselves from only reflecting upon ourselves, from only staring inward at the marvel of our creation, to see beyond just that, into the marvel of all creation, and through it, into the Creator. Trying to bring ourselves into that moment of transcendence, that moment of allowing our focus on ourself to be shed, to allow ourself to drift into the mist of all that exists. This is the goal of this part of the service. We try to emphasize this by trying to moderate our breathing, placing our breathing into a rhythm that allows it to be more deep, more expressive, and allowing ourselves to be free of the routine that sometimes blocks us from understanding. We breathe in on the first phrase, Baruch She'amar. We hold with the fullness of the world, V'haya ha'olam. And we breathe out our praise, Baruch Hu, blessed is the one. And then we hold in that moment of complete emptiness before the cycle begins again. Baruch She'amar. V'haya ha'olam. Baruch Hu. 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 As you continue breathing in your rhythm, allow your breaths to deepen, the pauses between each phase to lengthen. Allow the barrier that stands between you and the world around you and the God that created all to begin to fade. We are all made from the same stuff, all crafted by the same hand. We are all built by the Blessed One, the one whose oneness infused this world. We give praise to the Creator for allowing us to know the Creator. Baruch she'amar. Haya ha'olam. Baruch hu. Baruch she'amar. Haya ha'olam. Baruch hu. But more than just acknowledging the Creator, we seek to act, to live, to express, to breathe the understanding that God has given us. Every breath should be as a praise of Adonai. Every breath should be Hallelujah, giving praise to Yah, to God. Our actions reflect the understanding. Our actions reflect what God tries to see in this world become true. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol anshamat hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol anshamat hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol anshamat hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol anshamat hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. And how can it be that a million voices, billions of creatures in all the world can sing together to give one voice, one praise, one symphony of understanding? It is because we come from Echad. We come from the God who is one. And thus we set the Shema as the pinnacle of our understanding, hardest of all of our phrases to comprehend, most powerful of all of our phrases to open our eyes. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema turn our attention to the two holidays that stand at either end of Shalosh Regalim, the pilgrimage festivals. The two holidays that act as summation for all that we seek during our festivals, all we seek in life. On the one hand, we have Pesach, the holiday ostensibly of liberation, Zman Chirutenu, the time of our liberation, our freedom. But Pesach was celebrated in a home. Pesach is still the most celebrated of all holidays, found in our private home. The first Seder, we marked our doors, we went inside, we closed the doors behind us. We huddled, fearful of the danger that lurked outside, the danger of our oppressors, the danger of death. We read from a script, we read from the Haggadah of our enslavement, of our suffering, of our pain. We read of our liberation, being brought forth with a mighty hand, being liberated by signs and wonders performed by Adonai. We are passive participants in our own freedom. We are carried forward in Pesach by the power of God, the way a child is carried in the arms of a parent. Pesach is still the holiday of slaves, still the holiday where we begin to peek through our fear, but fear nonetheless. We rejoice at the glimpse of what is to come, but we are still so dependent, still so helpless, still carried by God, unable to stand on our own feet, unable to face the world without God's protection guarding us, a shelter, a barrier between us and that world, the walls of our house, the blood on the doors. Protect us as we eat this bread of affliction. Alach ma'anya, this is the bread of affliction. Diachalu, hachalu hatana, that our ancestors ate. Behara, behara, de Mitzrayim, the land of Egypt, the land of pain, of suffering, of death. Alach ma'anya, diachalu, hachalu av hatana, behara, behara de Mitzrayim, alach ma'anya, diachalu, hachalu av tana, behara, behara de Mitzrayim, alach ma'anya, diachalu, hachalu hatana, behara, behara de Mitzrayim. In Pesach we retreat. We gather ourselves, our family, our friends, all that is loved. We huddle in the shelter of God's wings, the tangible presence of miracles beyond our door. We hope that our liberation will come soon. We hope that we will be sheltered and protected. At the other end of our holidays, at the other end of our spiritual growth, played out again in the drama of each year's cycle, stands Sukkot, booths, small huts, shaking gently in the wind, a roof of scattered greenery over us. No blood on the doors, no thick walls to protect us from the Egyptians or the darkness that we fear. The starlight shines down upon us. The rain, if inevitable, pours upon us. The sound of the world, gently blowing past the walls, still reaches us. The walls between us and the world are thin, impermanent. The roof above us even more so. Tattered, sparse, sun and shadow mixing on the ground below, dappling ourselves as we dwell in that space. But we dwell there without fear. In Pesach, we still have the twinge of fear. We still wonder if we will truly be free this night. In Sukkot, we know we are free. In Sukkot, we do not need the walls to protect us. We do not need the roof to guard us. We know that God's protection is not found in the walls or roof that we construct. God's protection is found in our soul, in our heart, in our mind, in our being. That we are not confined to the small room to be protected and guarded. That we are not limited to be in one small place. That we can spread out. We can go to the north, to the south, the east, and the west, and we will find bounty and goodness wherever we go. We will find God's blessings wherever we choose to see them. We will find the goodness, prosperity, all that we need to live. It doesn't have to be a castle built of stone or even of mud bricks. In even the flimsiest of shelter, we can find all that we need. As we come from the harvest, thinking that our bounty is our goal, Sukkot reminds us it was never about the walls. It was never about the bounty, what we grow in the field. It is what we grow in our soul, and it is up to us to remove those walls and spread in every direction. Ufaratzta, you will spread out. Yama, towards the sea. V'kedma, forward to the rising sun. Tzfona, to the north above. V'negba, to the desert to the south. Ufaratzta, 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 ufaratzta. Yama v'kedma, v'tzfona v'negba. Yama v'kedma, v'tzfona v'negba. Ufaratzta, 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 ufaratzta. Yama v'negba, v'tzfona v'negba. Yama v'kedma, v'tzfona v'negba. Ufaratzta, 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 ufaratzta. Yama v'kedma, tzafona v'negba. Yama v'kedma, tzafona v'negba. We must allow our soul to journey beyond the shelter it seeks to craft within. Having encountered God at Pesach, we need to be sure that we open ourselves up by the time we reach Sukkot. Through the intermediate holidays of Shavuot, and then through Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we are given the insights of how to turn our eyes to God beyond the walls, to see them as a necessary step, a stage of our spiritual growth, a stage of our history, but never to be a prison. God wants us to come out from that house, to walk into freedom, to be able to stand in the flimsiest of places and feel the strength flow into us, to be able to lift our eyes to the mountains, to wonder where our help will come and answer that our help will come from Adonai, from the one who made the heavens and the earth. Esahenai el heharim, me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri mehim Adonai, Ose shamayim v'aretz. Ezri mehim Adonai, Ose shamayim v'aretz. Esahenai el heharim, me'ayin yavo Ezri. Esahenai el heharim, me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri mehim Adonai, Ose shamayim v'aretz. Ezri mehim Adonai, Ose shamayim v'aretz. Look within, find that home, that place of comfort in Pesach, a place that you have outgrown. Find walls that you built to keep yourself safe at some point, walls to feel secure, a place where you began to feel God's presence, the love of another, a joy in being. Sheltered in there, you can now begin to remove the walls. Having been given those gifts, recognize it is not the walls that keep them safe. It is you, it is God, it is your family, your community. Allow the walls to disappear and see that joy can be shared and spread. See that the beautiful gift that God gave us was never meant to be trapped inside a wall, but allow it to come out and bring joy, bring simcha to the world. And then Sukkot will truly be Zman Simchatenu, the time of our rejoicing. Whenever you are ready, you can either open your eyes if they are closed, allow your body to return to a more active posture. At some point, it would be wonderful if you join us in the sanctuary as we continue with our Rosh Chodesh celebration, celebrating this new month of Elul, the month of greatest introspection that we have in our entire calendar, and of course the joy of singing together Hallel, which is always one of the high points. Shabbat Shalom.